Hey everyone, welcome to the Libertarian Leadership Academy live stream. This is the very first one that we're putting on. However, they're going to be every day during the week, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And today with us, we have our very own Libertarian Jesus, Joe Hannoush. He has ran for office 4 times, 3 times for State House, 1 time for U.S. House, and he might be running again. I don't know. He can talk about it. Joe, welcome to the show.
Hey, Michael, thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting this. I think it's awesome. I feel great being on the first one. This is pretty exciting to me, and I look forward to future episodes. Exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk to you about running for office. Obviously, you got a ton of experience. Let's talk about the very first time you popped your cherry for running for office, the very first campaign. How many mistakes did you make?
I made all the mistakes. Yeah, I made infinity mistakes, and I thought I knew everything, of course, and then I found that I didn't. And then as I learned more in subsequent campaigns, I found out, man, I didn't know anything at all. It's just one of those things. You're growing up, and yeah, you find out you didn't know anything. But yeah, that was what kind of triggered me to run in that first time was.
Mhm.
Um, I was doing my ballot actually. In Florida, they send you a sample ballot in the mail first, so you can research the candidates. Well, I researched the candidates, and then I kind of bubble in who I'm going to vote for and whatever. And then so when I go to the polling booth, it's a cheat sheet, right? So as I was doing that, I was going down, and this was in 2016. So I voted for Gary Johnson, of course, Libertarian Candidate for President. There was a guy running for U.S. Senate, Libertarian. I really loved him. I followed his campaign. Then it got down to
Was
some of the
was
other
that
races.
was that Alexander Snitker?
No, it was a little bit after that. I didn't
Okay,
vote for him though. It
gotcha.
was Paul Stinton. He was running in 2016. Yeah,
Okay,
for
yeah, I'm
U.S. Senate.
familiar with him. Yep.
Yeah. So that was exciting. I got to know him. I kind of messaged back and forth at that time. I wasn't involved in the party at that time, but I was a small L libertarian. So I kind of, like I said, I voted for Alex Snicker before that. Voted for Gary Johnson twice by this time. But I kind of went down the ballot, and there was these Democrats, Republicans, and I researched them, and it was just like that South Park thing: if you want a turd sandwich or a douche.
Giant douche.
Yes, and that's what I felt like. I was like, "What am I doing? Like, how do I vote for these people?" So
Yeah.
I heard myself complaining. Right, I was aware of that, and I don't have anything against complaining. By the way, that's exercising the First Amendment. Please do it. But I wanted to put some action behind it. If you want change, you got to be the change. So I
Mhm.
decided at that moment I'm going to run for office the next time. So in 2018, I decided to change my voter registration to Libertarian. At that point, I was an independent. Changed my voter registration to Libertarian because I was hardcore Libertarian, and decided to run for office, be the change I wish to see. So I jumped all in and joined my local affiliate, and the rest is history.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing that. And that goes to show that when you first run for office, you're not going to know everything. And it's okay to make mistakes because you learn from those. Now, hopefully, if you're watching this and you're thinking about running for the first time, you get plugged into our online academy, you pay attention to other candidates, and you find a mentor, right? Joe would be a perfect one, right? So you don't make the same mistakes. You learn from other people's mistakes so you can have a more successful campaign. Is that right?
Yeah, 100% agree. And you're one of those people, by the way. I remember back several years ago now. You trained me in person down here in Orlando, and
Yeah.
yeah, I believe you were one of the people you said, along with Kara Schultz and Larry Sharps, other people as well. I really admired. Said to not only run once, run 3 times. So
Yeah.
don't let that people scare. Don't let that scare you. But it's something that you want to do so that you build on what you accomplished already.
Correct. Right. So you're going to learn and you're going to gain the skills along the way. If you decide to only run a couple of times, that's fine, but use those skills later to help train other candidates, right? To
100%.
help guide them and mentor them because we need it. We need libertarians to win. And libertarians at the state house, I think we've only won a state house seat once in Alaska. Andrew Moreau.
It happened a few times though. It happened a few times in Alaska, and we had our most recent one. I think was 2020 up in was it Wyoming? for the Frontier Project.
I thought he switched. I thought he switched from being Republican to Libertarian, then he lost his reelection campaign.
We had, I think, 4 of those in New Hampshire, but we had one
Yeah,
guy
we did.
as a Libertarian. He was heads up, and Bert or something. Bert. Oh man, I feel bad forgetting his name.
That's okay. I forgot his name too, but it is Bert. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I know who you're talking about. Yeah, running for state house, it's not easy as a libertarian. Definitely not, especially, how many people are in your district?
Oh, in mine, there's going to be, like, in the previous elections, there's been roughly 80,000 to 100,000 votes cast. So there's actually a lot more than that as far as, like, people living here.
Yeah, so that's a lot of people that you got to reach out to,
Yeah, for a state house race here in Florida, they are relatively very, very, very populated here.
But the important thing to realize and understand when you're running for office is you're running to get the solutions out into the public. You're running for name recognition. You're running for idea recognition, right? You're running to talk about the things that matter that the Republicans and Democrats will not talk about. They're going to come at all these issues with a more authoritarian approach, and we need to provide the opposite, which is libertarian.
Right, 100%. That reminds me, in 2018, was my first campaign, and I was on the local radio. We had a joint appearance. It was a debate, but the host called it a joint appearance. I guess I didn't want to call it a debate. Anyway, so my Republican and Democrat, counterparts were on the radio. And the issue of the Second Amendment came up. And what's interesting is in 2018, that was like the Florida state government passed the most anti-2A bill ever. It was SB 7026, or also known as the Parkland Bill, named after a school. They raised the age to purchase a firearm from 18 to 21. They enacted a waiting list. They had they did bump stock bans. They did red flag laws. And so it was a very widespread anti-Second Amendment law. And I was able to be on the radio and with my Republican opponent sitting right next to me saying the Libertarian Party is the only pro-2A party. So, and it's a conservative area too. So that I think people probably appreciated that point of view.
And it's true though. Look at Donald Trump. Like, he's adding more restrictions onto firearms.
Yeah.
In a time where we need less restrictions, where people should be carrying, to protect themselves and to protect their friends and their family and other people out in the community. I carry every day.
Yeah, and a big talking point is, so between 18 and 21, it's a lot of college age people, and half of them are women. So for the first time, a 19-year-old just graduated high school, moves to Gainesville or Tallahassee, the big college areas here in Florida, and they're not allowed to legally own a gun, not allowed to legally own a firearm. And that's a shame. That's because of the state government saying you can't have that, which is it's just amazing. You can get drafted to go fight in a war, but you can't protect yourself with a firearm.
Yeah, there's a couple bumper sticker statements that I really love. One of them is armed gays don't get bashed, right? And then armed women don't get raped.
Yeah.
And that is the truth.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, women are smaller than men.
Right.
And they don't have the strength that men do, so men can take advantage of that. The equalizer is a firearm. That is a great equalizer. Yeah, you can have bear spray or something like that, but it's just not the same. You might spray yourself on accident. I don't know.
I haven't had that happen to me, so luckily, unfortunately, or fortunately.
You haven't sprayed yourself with bear spray?
I have not. No, I don't keep any on me. So, but yeah, it's better to have protection. At least you have a chance, and you have that feeling of like, obviously get trained. Not just having a firearm is important.
Sure.
But being trained on it, being responsible for it, and knowing when to use it. When it's appropriate. Like Maj Therese is a good example. He teaches this kind of stuff, and that's not only half. That's probably more than half knowing how to defend yourself and be responsible than just having a firearm.
Yeah, and it feels different. Knowing how to use a firearm and then having a firearm on you, going out in public, it just feels different. And it feels actually better. It feels more secure. Like if anything were to happen, you know that you could like potentially stop it. A mass shooting or whatever, like you could potentially stop it.
I'll tell you this. So I go to like a bunch of campaigning. I go to a bunch of like places in talk to people, whatever. The safest place I've ever felt is a gun and knife show.
Yeah.
They have them at the fair here like once a month, and I'm like, when I'm there, I'm like, I'm protected. I feel
Yeah.
safe. Like it's really the safest thing.
Since guns are such a danger, right? Well, how come there aren't any mass shootings at gun shows?
Literally zero. I've been to like 10 of them. Literally zero.
Yeah.
For hours, and nothing happened. No gun just jumps off the table and just starts shooting people. Never happened. Never happened.
And why is it that most mass shootings happen in gun-free zones?
Yeah.
That doesn't really make any sense, right? Shouldn't the criminals follow the signs? The sign says no guns.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like people, there's so many people, and this is something really libertarians should probably be messaging as part of it. Is a new law doesn't magically make that thing happen. Like murder is already outlawed. It's already against the law. You're not supposed to do that, and it happens. So you got to be able to protect yourself when you're just out and about doing anything.
Yeah, murder is illegal, rape is illegal, theft is illegal, grand theft auto is illegal, but they still happen, right?
Yep.
Why is that? It's like criminals don't follow the law or something?
Oh yeah, yep.
That is weird. That's a head scratcher.
Yeah, and what's the phrase in only the criminals have guns? Like, I forget the phrase, but I think that's the second part of it. When the government bans guns, only the criminals have guns.
Yeah. Did you see what recently happened in Australia? At the beach there, right? That guy opened fire on crowds of people, killed 10 people, and everyone there, was unarmed, nothing they could do.
And they have strict gun laws over there, I think.
They do, very strict gun laws. And that's the thing, man. It seems like more and more people are allowing the government to just take away our rights. And a lot of people like to say that we live in a democracy, and I don't believe that. It's a representative democracy. However, I believe it's more of an oligarchy with extra steps.
100%. I agree. The illusion is democracy or the republic, whatever you want to call it. It's just a show. It's an illusion like, oh, we are actually doing this the right way, but they're not. It's all just corruption and big government, just growing big government, a giant grift in government.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate. But that's why we run for office, right? That's why we take a stand. That's why we talk about the issues that we talk about. What are some of your other major platform planks that have been really popular?
Yeah, to that point, I did run for Congress once, and it kind of reminded me of the members of Congress kind of wash their own hands there. My member, or actually former member of Congress now, he's works in the Trump administration now. But Mike Waltz was a former. I actually ran against him in 2022. He was a former defense contractor, and what they would do is, he would lobby and whatever to get contracts from the government for his defense contractors. So he's part of the war machine that just keeps the wars going. And right now, we got Democrats and Republicans, of course, that were voting for keeping the wars going and funding foreign involvement and stuff. So again, like I said, the Libertarian Party is the only pro-2A party. The Libertarian Party is the only pro-peace party as well. So that's another talking point I get out there. Like, do we really want to spend tens of billions, if not into trillions now, over the last 25 years, fighting these forever wars? And what do? We have more generations of foreign people in those countries that grow up hating us because all they know is us killing their uncle and their grandfather and whatnot. And It's got to end, and the libertarians need to be the voice to do that because the Republicans and Democrats are not doing it. Very few
And
are.
that is the exact issue that got me involved in the Libertarian Party. When I saw Ron Paul on the first Fox News debate in 2007, when he said the terrorists don't hate us because we're free and prosperous, they hate us because we've been over there meddling in their business since 1953. That's when I was like, oh, what? What did you say? Say that again? What? And I was brainwashed. I was programmed to believe that we needed to be over there in the Middle East, or otherwise they would be over here killing us, and they hate us for our freedom, for our prosperity, for our Christianity. They hated, America because of that. And I realized, because of Ron Paul, that they actually hate us because we've been bombing them. We've been doing regime change.
We've been killing them and starving them. Yeah.
Yeah, and starving them, exactly. So that brings up a really good point to the fact that, do you think the majority of Americans would actually vote to go bomb Iraq or to invade Venezuela or anything like that? Or is it just, the military industrial complex bought and paid for politicians?
No, I think that vote would lose overwhelmingly. I think that some people get on board with it because their certain political party says we have to do this. And then they buy into the narrative, like one of the things you mentioned earlier about the brainwashing. It's like, oh, we don't fight them there, we have to fight them here. And it's just not true. I mean, who's attacking us now? The last one was, again, like 25 years ago, 24 years ago. And that was a single cell. It wasn't a government, it was a single cell.
Yeah.
So the last government, I don't even remember the last government that attacked us. It's been forever.
Japan.
And one of the libertarian phrases, I hope we use this for the candidates out there: when goods cross borders, armies don't.
Yep.
So we got to believe, like, tariffs is really the anti what we're supposed to be doing. That we want to be able to trade. Like, you want to be able to go to your farmer's market, right? To kind of like localize it. When you go to your farmer's market, I feel good going there. You get to see some people in the community. You get to sometimes barter with them if you want. Like, oh, I got this, trade you that. And they'll do it with each other as well. And that's the way it should work, right? So we'll just do that at a larger scale. Let's just trade with each other, Instead, we say, oh, we're going to tax you 25% or something on your goods. It's like, well, I don't want to trade you anymore. So if I'm not trading with you, why don't, I'm probably not going to like you, right? If you're doing that to me. So it's just one of those things. We got to believe in freedom really across the board and be principled on that for sure. That leads to being happy, frankly.
Yeah, didn't Benjamin Franklin say something along those lines about trade with all nations, entangling alliances with none? I butchered that quote, but
that's a good quote. You said it well. I like that quote. It'll be the Michael Pickens quote now.
Yeah, there we go. Michael Pickens said this.
Yes.
But going back to that, what you said with the farmers market, going out and trading in your community, that is capitalism. That is true capitalism, right? What we have in America is corporatism, right? It's the government getting involved, setting rules that big corporations are able to follow, which small businesses cannot because they don't have the resources to be able to do that. And the taxation that is put on top and the regulation that is put on top, like, we do not have capitalism, and people are confused by that, right?
Yeah, it's crony capitalism. It's just like the democracy in a republic. It's fake, it's pretend. Like, they say it's capitalism, it's not capitalism. And unfortunately, we have probably more than half of the people in this country think it is capitalism. So they hate capitalism because they think that's what it is. Oh, it's government deciding things. Like, no, it's completely wrong. It's like some terms like liberal, conservative, they've been butchered by the neocons and the neoliberals, unfortunately. But yeah, so when it comes to those farmers market, it's another thing. They don't pay taxes over there. So it's very much like, what do you need the government there for? When you think about it, like, someone produced, these carrots or potatoes that they're selling there. Someone else produced these baked goods. And you just meet at this place that the community said, oh, they saw a flyer on the wall, or you saw it on a local Facebook community group or next door or something. What's the government involvement? No, there's none.
Nothing.
You don't need that for anything. Yeah, and if you don't like what's in that product, you don't shop there anymore. So it's a very, very free market. That analogy, I hope other candidates will take that and expand on it.
Yeah, government getting involved just makes things more expensive. It makes it to where the little guy can't participate. You know, it just causes so much problems. And you look in the housing market. The reason why there is a housing crisis is because of the government. 100%. If you look at Japan and you look at the United States has 4 times more regulations when it comes to building houses than Japan does.
Oh, wow.
4 times, which is huge, which is a huge amount. And not to mention the fees, permitting costs, like everything that's associated, and then now the tariffs, which increases the cost of all the supplies to build houses.
Yep. And when
Yeah,
you're building a house, like that kind of major expense, that 20% tariff is enormous. It's huge. It's significant.
Big time. Yeah. It's adding $100,000, $150,000 to the cost of building. And one of my neighbors is he's a builder. It's a construction company, and he tells me, it's a year minimum for permitting, a year minimum, maybe 2 years.
Wow.
Right? And they got to go through the process, and they got to sit through hearings, and they have to do a wastewater study, and they have to do a traffic study, and they have to do all kinds of studies, right? Before they'll allow a permit to build a house. We did.
Funny? That reminded me. So I used to sit in my city commission meetings and just listen to the discussion, right? There was an item that came up for a new development, right? Like I think a new apartment complex or something. So they had to do a traffic study, like you mentioned. The traffic study came out to be like a D- or F+ or something. So it was like basically you can't do anything, right?
Yeah.
So the city commission just ignored that and they approved it anyway. So even when they do the study, it's like a waste of money, waste of time. Like, what are they even doing?
Yeah, and added an extra 6 months and added thousands of dollars for what?
And government approval. It's just crazy. It's
Yeah.
like nonsense. And they're not even going to go by it anyways.
Yeah. So we added a coffee stand to one of our commercial properties, and it took 9 months to get the special use permit to put the coffee stand there. And that doesn't even include the regulations for serving food from the state. Like, those were completely separate. This was just a special use permit, right? And, septic study, traffic study, all of that. And then we had to do another special use permit on the same property. They would not allow us to do both of them at the same time. The rules were you can only do one special use permit at a time. So we had to finish one first and then do the other one.
Yeah.
And then had to, yeah. Fortunately, they let us use the same studies for the other permit, but they had to follow the timeline that is in their rules. So even though the studies were done and they were going to use them, they still had to wait the 60 days per study. So 60 days on this study, 60 days on this study. They still had to wait the timelines.
We need a little bit of Doge for that government process there.
Yeah, and the thing is, all the government employees at the planning department, they agreed with me because I was like, this makes no logical sense. And they're like, oh, you're right, it doesn't. But there's nothing we can do about it. You have to go talk to the county commissioners. So then I go talk to the county commissioners, and they're like, oh, well, we don't want to do anything with that. That the city manager and blah blah blah.
That's when you run for office. That's the end. Yes. There you go. And I've heard a lot of stories where people get involved in politics and win and go on to be elected 8, 10 years, whatever. But exactly that story. It's like they were trying to do something small, like get a permit for a fence in their backyard, but they had to go through this bureaucracy in government. And they were like, they got so triggered, for lack of a better term, that they decided, I'm going to run for office and I'm going to change this. And people can relate to that. Like, we all have that story, right? So, folks, run for office. If you've had that happen to you, run for office. I guarantee you people will be able to relate to that story for sure.
Yeah, so my county commissioner seat is up in 2028. However, there's a PUD, which is a public utility district seat, that's up in 2026. So I might run for that one. I recently had a run-in with our local county PUD where I had a commercial tenant that didn't pay rent for 7 months, and they left the property, right? And I had to get power hooked back up to the property because they had it shut down, and our septic system on the entire property was hooked up to that building. So when I went to hook up power, they wanted to charge me a $3,600 deposit to
I
get
missed that.
power
You
hooked
froze on
back
me.
up.
Sorry.
Oh, did I freeze?
It froze for like 10 seconds.
Okay, so I had to get a power hooked back up on a commercial property. The county PUD wanted to charge me $3,600. So I went to the PUD meeting. I'm like, I can't pay $3,600 for this. They ended up deciding to spread that out over 4 months. So they still charged me it. I still have to pay it, right? But I only needed to put 900 down this month and then 900 down next month. And like, it's just crazy, man.
That's disgusting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been to 2 PUD meetings, and it's like the PUD commissioners, they all agreed with me. They all agreed that it didn't make sense. But then the attorney and the manager said, "Oh, well, if we make an exception for him, we have to make an exception for everyone."
Do it.
And I'm like,
Do it for
"Yeah,
everyone.
because it's wrong. You should do it for everyone."
Yeah.
And the attorney's like, "Oh, we can't do that. We can't do that." And the commissioners just went along with it. So,
Yeah.
anyways, I'm going to be a thorn in their side, and I'm going to show up on every meeting, and then run for PUD commissioner.
You know what? I showed up to my budget advisory board for my city commission, and I did that like a few times, 3 or 4 times. And finally, my city commissioner actually put me on the agenda to be appointed for one of the vacancies on the board. And I
Yep.
ended up being on that budget advisory board for about 3.5 years. So it's
Okay.
four property tax, or not property tax, budget cycles. So I got to see how the local governments, at least mine anyway, kind of how they create their budget and whatnot. So that's a good idea for prospective candidates. Go to your local like PUD board or budget advisory board. Listen to city commission meetings. You don't have to go there in person. You can listen to them online.
Yep.
Read the agendas, just like stuff like that, and you'll learn a lot. Like there's a ton of stuff you'll learn, and you'll find something that is like insane, like, and you'll want to change it. So it's good things to have. Like, did you know what your government is doing this? It's a good way to get support from people when you go talk to them.
Yeah. You'll learn a lot, and you'll probably get pissed off.
You will get pissed off. Not probably. You will get pissed off.
That's a guarantee.
Guarantee.
There is so much that the government does that doesn't make any logical, rational sense. But what I found out is that here in Washington State, they are just accepting any rules and regulations and ordinances that come out of the Capitol, right? There is literally a meeting that happens every single year where all of the city managers and county managers go to, and they get their marching orders from our state capitol. They're told what ordinances to add and what ordinances to change, and they bring it all in, and then the county commissioners just rubber stamp it all.
It's disgusting. Yeah, my county at their last meeting, this was a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago maybe. There was a $400 or $400,000, excuse me, $400,000 basically economic incentive. That's code for corporate welfare. So they have this economic incentive of $400,000 they gave to a local airline, not a local airliner. It's one of the big airlines actually, for them to come to our local airport and have a hub there. And their reasoning behind that was the federal government mandates that. They have to do matching economic incentives at the local government level. So they had the federal government handcuffed the local government from doing that. So that's another point of view from libertarians can take. We believe in decentralization. If we're going to have authoritarianism, try to make it as local as possible, so that way you can look your commissioner in the eye or run against them, frankly. Because once it gets to the DC level, they don't care about you. You're just a peon. You're just an ant. No one cares about you. So if anything, try to just move it down to, or really up, because I think local governments actually have a larger impact on you than federal government. Unfortunately, the federal government has all these mandates that they put on state and local governments, but they trickle down to us.
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept, right? Because the pyramid that's set up of control has the federal, the state, local, and then the citizens. And I believe it should be inverted, right? The citizens, the individuals should have control, and then city, and then county, and then state. But what happens when a city makes these laws that oppress people, right? So, for example, at the federal level, there's cannabis prohibition. And a bunch of states have said, no, we're going to legalize it. We're not going to follow your Schedule 1 bullshit,
Yeah.
right?
So what I say to that is nullify unconstitutional laws, which is unconstitutional. That's against
Yep.
the 9th Amendment and 10th Amendment and 14th Amendment. Anyway, I can go on and on there. By the way, today is Bill of Rights Day. September 15th or December 15th is Bill of Rights Day. Actually, keep a copy of the Constitution with me at all times. So candidates always carry well, that too. But yes, this pocket Constitution with you. So yeah, so those amendments, like you could just talk about those with people, and it's one of those things where you nullify things until you can get the law repealed. Because we talk about jury nullification. If a law is unjust, get on the jury and talk about jury nullification with your fellow jurors until they kick you out, of course.
Yeah, they don't let you on. You got to pretend that you're someone you're not just to get on the jury.
Yeah. I've actually been waiting to be summoned for jury duty, but I haven't been called in like 20 years. So.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't been called either. So
maybe
I think they know. They know who I am. That's the thing. Like we ran a recall for one of the county commissioners here. It got passed through the county superior court, and she appealed it to the Supreme Court, and then it got shut down at the Supreme Court. I'm just causing all kinds of trouble locally.
Good. It's the best way to do it.
Yeah. That's probably why I'm not being called.
Thing, like when you are a candidate, like local organizations, like not libertarian ones, but they'll ask you your opinion on stuff. Like they'll platform you. So then they'll send out your what your answers to their questions are to their people. So you kind of plant those seeds of like libertarian solutions with those people as well. Like I sat down, I talked with the Sierra Club people, my local chapter here. I talked to just groups of people that just get around and talk about issues. Like it used to be before COVID hit and then government shut everything down. But there was a group every Friday at 10 a.m. They would be at their local library and they would just talk about local issues. Not local, well, one would be local, one state, and one federal issue. And they would just talk for like an hour and a half. So I'd just go there and give my opinion. Like I would wear my campaign shirt, and people would see it. Like they would introduce themselves to me because, oh, you're running for office. I care about issues. Obviously, you're at the place where they are there because they care about issues. So if you're running for office, you're going to be changing policy, or theoretically. So they'll listen to you. They'll want to be on your side. Sometimes they'll want to help you.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe I should hold a town hall on the PUD or whatever issue and just set it up myself and just talk to people about it.
Yeah, set up like a brunch or something, or like a coffee with a candidate or something like that. Or I just go on Nextdoor. Like if candidates, probably the best tool is using Nextdoor because you can actually point out your local people, like your neighborhood or your city, for people that will see it. And I know they say like you can't talk about politics, but everyone talks about politics. So yeah, and another thing is like this is kind of like just free to do. Write letters to the editor. Like with people that read the newspaper still, there are a lot of people that still read the newspaper. Those are the serious voters. So write a letter to the editor about sometimes like these papers, they want content, so they want you to write letters to the editor because they're trying to sell ads. So more stuff on paper, more ads they can sell, and it's free. Doesn't cost anything.
Absolutely, yeah. And there is a chance it's not going to get published, but at least you're putting it out there. And whatever letter you do write and send it out, post it on Facebook and share it in the groups. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to rely on the corporate media to get your ideas out there. So
100%.
Yeah, we've got some uncensored groups here locally that I post things in. There's other groups that won't allow any of the political stuff in it, and they'll boot you. for doing it. Oh, they're only going to allow certain political stuff like the No Kings rally. Like, oh, we can post about that, but we can't post anything, freedom oriented.
I know exactly what groups you're talking about. Like, we have the same
Yeah.
things here. Some of them are uncensored, like local. It'll be literally like Daytona Beach uncensored, and then like another one would be like, oh, you could post, but not party stuff or whatever. But it's always one side getting everything approved. The other side, you're getting banned from the group.
Oh yeah, they kick you out. They kick you out right away if you post something they don't like, they don't agree with. And the people who love democracy the most are the quickest to kick you out.
It's funny how that works, right? And they're the first ones to say they love democracy, right?
Yep, absolutely. Well, hey man, we're 5 minutes over, but I really appreciate you coming on. I would like to have you back again. So
yeah, flew by. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So if people are watching, where can they find you?
I'm on Twitter. That's where I do most of my, I guess, content, if you will. It's my name. It's Joe Hannoush. You kind of see it there. It's right there. It's at Joe Hannoush. So you can find me there on Twitter, and it's probably the best place to do it.
Awesome. And if they want to donate to your campaign, can they do that?
I'm not filed yet, so I gotta file the paperwork first, and then the government's slow processing it. But hopefully, in the next probably a couple of weeks, I'll be able to have like a website in there. But it'll be my name again. It'll be joehannoush.com. It doesn't work right now because I can't accept any contributions before it's official. But yeah, I will be running, and I'm just waiting for it to be official. And at that point, I'll be accepting contributions up to $1,000. That's it. You can't. I know everyone wants to donate more to me because I'm paid, but the maximum legal limit, because the government sucks. They put the cap at $1,000 per person.
Okay, so I want you back on after you file. I want you to come back on, and we'll do this again.
Sure.
So, all right. Thanks so much, Joe. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you, Mike.